The grand bonding hall was silent. Thousands of beings from across the galaxy filled the wide chamber. Tall aliens with shining armor. Floating beings made of light. Creatures with many eyes, many arms, and voices that echoed like thunder. This hall decided the future of alliances. It decided who mattered. At the center of the hall stood one small figure, Princess Vaelira. She stood straight, though her hands shook. Her eyes were open, but they did not focus on anything. They never had. She was born blind. In a galaxy that valued strength, sight, and power above all else. Blindness was seen as a curse. She could feel them staring. She could hear the soft sounds, whispers, sharp breaths, quiet laughs. Some voices were filled with pity, others with disgust, many with cold judgment. Vaelira had trained for this day her entire life. She had learned history by sound. She had learned movement by touch. She had learned control by pain and failure. Still, she knew the truth. No training could fix what she lacked. A loud voice echoed across the hall. The first delegation may step forward. Heavy footsteps approached her. A tall alien lord stopped a few steps away. His species was known for honor and strength. Many believed he would choose her. Vaelira lifted her chin. The alien did not speak to her. She is unsuitable, he said to the council. Her weakness would damage our bloodline. He turned and walked away. A low murmur spread through the hall. Vaelira's fingers tightened. Another voice called out. The second delegation. This time, a graceful being of light floated forward. Vaelira felt warmth from its presence. Hope rose in her chest. We refuse, the being said calmly. She cannot see the future. We require vision. The light faded. Gone. Again and again. It happened. One delegation after another stepped forward only to reject her. Some spoke kindly. Others were cruel. One laughed openly and said, "Why is she even here?" Each refusal felt heavier than the last. Vaelira kept her posture perfect. Princesses were trained not to cry. Not in public, not ever. But inside, something was breaking. She remembered her childhood. The quiet halls. The lessons behind closed doors. The way other children avoided her. The way her tutors spoke slowly, like she was fragile glass. She remembered her own people's fear. She cannot rule. She cannot bond. She will weaken us. The final delegation stepped forward. This was the last chance. The High Council leaned forward. Even they seemed uncomfortable now. The alien representative looked at Vaelira for a long moment. Then he shook his head. We decline, he said. She is incomplete. The words hit harder than any blade. The hall fell into an uneasy silence. The council leader rose from his seat. Princess Vaelira of House Ilion, he announced, his voice formal and cold. All delegations have refused the bond. A pause. By galactic law, you are declared unfit. Unfit. The word echoed in her mind. Gasps filled the chamber. Some looked away in shame. Others watched with interest, like this was entertainment. Vaelira bowed, as tradition demanded. Her movements were slow, controlled. Inside, she felt empty. This was the moment she had feared. Since birth, she was no longer a princess in waiting. She was nothing. Guards stepped closer. She knew what came next. Removal, quiet exile. A life hidden, away so the galaxy would not have to look at her failure. The council leader raised his hand. Proceed. Then a sound broke the silence. Footsteps. Not heavy. Not proud. Just steady. Vaelira frowned slightly. She turned her head toward the sound. The steps were coming from the outer edge of the hall, from the lowest seating area. But from the human section, whispers exploded instantly. Human! What is a human doing? They have no status here. The footsteps stopped. A voice spoke. Wait. It was calm. Male. Not loud, but clear. The entire hall froze. The council leader looked down in surprise. This matter is concluded. I know, the human said, but I haven't made my choice yet. Confusion spread like fire. Vaelira's heart began to race. Humans were new to the galaxy, weak by most standards. Short-lived, emotion-driven. They were observers, not leaders. They had no reason or right to speak now. The human stepped forward. Vaelira could feel his presence, different from the others. No fear, no disgust. The council leader's voice hardened. You are not required to participate. I want to, the human replied. A sharp laugh came from the crowd. Does he understand what she is? She is blind. She is rejected. The human stopped a few steps in front of Vaelira. For the first time that day, someone spoke directly to her. Hello, princess, he said gently. She froze. No one had spoken to her like that before. Not with respect, not without pity. I am Ethan, he continued. From Earth. The hall erupted in noise. The council leader slammed his staff. Silence! Ethan turned to the council. I choose her. The words hit the room like thunder. Vaelira's breath caught. The galaxy had rejected her. But a single human had not. And in that moment, the galaxy realized something had gone terribly, unexpectedly wrong. The grand bonding hall did not calm down. Voices overlapped. Alien leaders argued among themselves. Some laughed in disbelief. Others watched the human with open anger. The idea that a human would step forward now felt wrong to them. Unacceptable. Princess Vaelira stood frozen. She could still hear his words in her mind. I choose her. No one had ever chosen her before. The council leader raised his staff again. Human delegate, he said sharply. You do not understand what you are doing. Ethan did not step back. I understand enough, he replied. A tall alien lord turned toward him. She is blind. She cannot serve. She cannot lead. Why waste a bond on her? Ethan answered without anger. Because she is still a person. The hole went quiet again. That word person meant? Different things across the galaxy. Too many species. Value came from strength, sight, or power. 2 humans. It came from something else. Vaelira felt her hands tremble. She forced them to still. The council leader looked down at Ethan. You are aware that once a bond begins, it cannot be undone without great cost. Yes, Ethan said. You will share pain, the leader continued. You will share weakness. Ethan nodded. I know. The leader leaned forward. Then explain why. All eyes turned to the human. Ethan took a breath. I watched her stand here, he said. I heard every refusal. She never begged. She never broke. That takes strength. Murmurs moved through the crowd. Vaelira swallowed hard. She trained her whole life for this moment. Ethan continued. Not to be perfect, just to be enough. And you all decided she wasn't. He looked directly at the council. I disagree. Silence followed. Vaelira felt something warm rise in her chest. It scared her. Hope always hurt the most. The council leader studied Ethan for a long time. Very well, he said at last. By galactic law, any willing participant may initiate a bond. A pause. But you will bear full responsibility. I accept, Ethan said. The bonding platform activated. Energy hummed through the air. Vaelira could feel it vibrate beneath her feet. She had trained for this moment, but never truly believed it would happen. A soft voice spoke inside her mind. Princess Vaelira, the system announced. Do you accept the bond? Her throat tightened. Accept. She had been taught to expect. Rejection, not choice. She turned her face toward Ethan's position. She could not see him, but she felt him there, steady eating. Yes, she said quietly. I accept. The platform glowed. Gasps filled the hall. Light wrapped around both of them. Not blinding, not painful, just warm. Vaelira felt something open inside her. Not her eyes. Something deeper. She felt Ethan's presence not as a sound or touch, but as awareness, calm/curious. Kind. Ethan felt it too. A wave of emotion rushed through him. Loneliness. Years of silence. Strength built from surviving judgment. This is her life, he realized. The bond deepened. Alien scientists stared at their screens in confusion. This isn't right, one whispered. The energy levels, they're rising, another said. The council leader frowned. The bond was not weakening the human. It was changing him. Vaelira gasped softly. For the first time in her life, she sensed the shape of the room not by sight, but by meaning. She felt distance, movement, presence. She felt the galaxy breathing around her. Tears slipped down her face. I can feel you, she whispered. Ethan smiled. Yeah, he said softly. Me too. The light faded. The bond was complete. The hall was silent again, but this time it was not filled with judgment. It was filled with fear, because the system spoke once more. Bond confirmed, it announced, classification unknown. Unknown. The council leader's grip tightened on his staff. No one had expected this, not the humans, not the aliens, not even Vaelira herself. The blind princess, rejected by all, had bonded with the weakest species in the galaxy. And somehow they had become something new. Something the galaxy did not understand. Something it might soon fear. The days after the bonding were not calm. Princess Vaelira and Ethan were taken to a sealed research wing deep inside the station. The council said it was for safety. Everyone knew it was for control. Scientists watched them through clear walls. Devices scanned their bodies and minds. Numbers filled the screens. None of it made sense. This bond is unstable, one scientist said. No, another replied slowly. It is growing. Vaelira sat quietly in the center of the room. She felt the hum of the station through the floor. She felt the fear in the minds beyond the glass. Ethan stood beside her. He did not let go of her hand. Through the bond, Vaelira sensed his emotions clearly. Concern, curiosity, a quiet anger at how she was treated. You don't have to stay, she said softly. They will blame you. Ethan shook his head. I chose this. No one had ever chosen her twice. The bond responded to their connection. It strengthened when they spoke honestly. When they trusted, strange things began to happen. Ethan started noticing details he had never seen before. Tiny changes in sound, shifts in air. He could feel movement behind him without turning. Vaelira could now sense shapes and space clearly. She walked without touching the walls. She knew when someone entered the room before the door opened. Alien observers grew nervous. This is not how bonding works, one said. She was blind. She should remain limited. She is not seeing, another whispered. She is understanding. The council ordered deeper tests. They separated Ethan and Vaelira. The moment the door closed, pain struck both of them. Vaelira cried out. Ethan slammed his hand against the barrier. The alarm screamed. Bring them back together, a scientist shouted. When they were reunited, the pain stopped instantly. The bond pulsed stronger than before. The data confirmed it. Separation weakened the station's power grid. Reuniting them stabilized it. The bond was no longer passive. It was active, adaptive. Learning. The council met in private. This cannot be allowed, one leader said. A blind princess bonded to a human should not produce this level of power. They rejected her, another replied, and now they fear her. The human is the key, a third said coldly. Remove him. Vaelira sensed the shift before. The order was spoken. Danger. She turned toward Ethan. They are planning something. Ethan felt it too. A pressure, a tightening of intent. The guards entered the room. Human delegate, one said, avoiding Vaelira's direction. You are required for further evaluation. Vaelira stepped forward. No, she said firmly. The word carried weight now. The guards hesitated. Ethan placed a hand on her arm. It's okay, he said quietly. I'll be right back. She shook her head. They will hurt you. The bond flared. The lights flickered. The guards stepped back in fear. Ethan looked at her in surprise. Vaelira. What did you do? I didn't know I could, she whispered. The council watched from above. This is escalating too fast, one said. Vaelira stood taller. All her life, she had been told to be quiet, to accept limits, to stay out of sight. Now the galaxy could not look away. She reached through the bond knot with force, but with intent. Ethan felt it. A deep connection opened inside him. Old human instincts. Survival. Protection. Something ancient stirred. The scientists. Screens flashed red dot energy readings spiked beyond safe levels. This is impossible, someone whispered. No, another said. This is human. The council leader rose slowly. The bond must be broken, he declared. Vaelira heard him. And for the first time, the blind princess was not afraid, because she was no longer alone, and because the galaxy had made a mistake. It had underestimated humanity. It had underestimated her. The council did not wait. Fear moved faster than reason. Within hours, a plan was formed behind closed doors. The bond between the blind princess and the human was no longer seen as a mistake. It was now seen as a threat. A threat that had to be removed. Vaelira sensed it before any alarm sounded. The station felt wrong. The hum of the walls changed. The air felt tight, like it was holding its breath. They are lying, she said quietly. Ethan looked at her. About what? The tests, she replied. They want to separate us again. Ethan's jaw tightened. Then we don't go. The door opened. A council messenger entered with 2 armed guards. His voice was calm, too calm. Human, Ethan, he said. The council requests your presence for a final evaluation. Vaelira felt the cold intent behind the words. No, she said firmly. If he goes, I go. The messenger hesitated. This is not required. It is, Ethan said, stepping forward. We are bonded. The guards exchanged looks. Finally, they allowed Vaelira to follow, but only at a distance. The path led to an older section of the station. One Vaelira had never been brought to before. The walls were thicker, the lights dimmer. A trap. The chamber was empty when they entered. The door sealed behind them. Then the pain came. Vaelira screamed. The bond twisted violently. A sharp force pulled at her mind, trying to tear the connection apart. Ethan dropped to one knee. His breath came in short gasps. Bond disruption field, a voice announced from hidden speakers. Remain still. Vaelira felt panic. Beneath it, something stronger. Anger. All her life. She had been controlled. Decided. Locked away. Not anymore. She reached for Ethan, through the bond. The pain lessened instantly. Ethan looked up in shock. Don't let go, she whispered. I'm not going anywhere, he replied. The machine's strained energy surged. Cracks spread along the walls. In the control room above, scientists shouted, "The field is failing. The human is resisting." No one whispered in fear. "The princess is—" Vaelira focused. She did not fight with strength. She fought with will. She remembered every insult, every refusal, every quiet night alone. The bond answered her. Wave of force blasted outward. The disruption field collapsed. The chamber lights exploded. Silence followed. The door opened violently as guards rushed in and froze. Vaelira stood tall, holding Ethan upright. The air around them shimmered. "This is impossible," one guard whispered. Alarms screamed across the station. The council leader appeared on a hologram. "You were never meant to survive this bond," he said coldly. Vaelira turned toward the voice. "You were never meant to decide my worth," she replied. Her voice was steady, clear. Human ships began to arrive outside the station. Humanity had noticed. Ethan smiled through the pain. "Looks like my people don't like betrayal." The council leader's eyes widened. For the first time, fear crossed his face. Because the galaxy had crossed a line, and humans did not forget. The station shook, not from weapons fire, but from arrival. Human ships dropped out of warp around the council station. They were not large compared to alien war fleets. They were not beautiful or elegant. They were solid. Purpose-built. And there were many of them. Alarms blared across the station. Alien leaders rushed to command rooms. Defense systems powered up but did not fire. No one wanted to be the one who started a war with humans. Inside the damaged chamber, Ethan held Vaelira. "Sit." She was breathing hard, but she was smiling. "They came," she said softly. Ethan nodded. "Told you, humans show up when it matters." A human voice filled the station's main channel. "This is Commander Reyes of the United Earth Fleet," it said. "You attempted to harm one of ours." The message was calm. That scared the council more than anger. "You violated bonding law," the commander continued. "You attempted forced separation. This is unacceptable." The council leader appeared on the channel. "The human acted without authorization. The bond is unstable." Commander Reyes did not raise her voice. "You rejected her," she said. "You approved the bond. Then you tried to break it." A pause. "In human terms," she added, "that's betrayal." Human Marines began boarding the station, not aggressively, but confidently. They did not aim weapons unless threatened. They walked like they belonged there. Vaelira felt their presence through the bond. Strong, protective, familiar, that she had never felt part of something so large before. A group of human officers entered the chamber. They stopped when they saw her. One of them lowered his head slightly. "Princess," he said, "you are under human protection." Vaelira's chest tightened. No one had ever protected her before. The council rushed to meet the humans. In emergency session, fear filled the room. "The bond is too powerful," one alien argued. "If this continues, humans will gain influence beyond control." Commander Reyes replied simply, "You should have thought of that before you tried to break her." Vaelira was brought before the council again, this time. She did not stand alone. Ethan stood at her side. Human guards stood behind them. "You feared her weakness," Vaelira said calmly. "But it was your fear that made her strong." The council leader looked away. The galaxy watched. Human ships did not fire. They did not threaten. They simply stayed. And that was enough. Because everyone now understood one truth. Humans did not dominate through power. They dominated through loyalty. And once they claimed someone as their own, they never let go. The council chamber was quiet. Not because of fear this time, but because of understanding. Princess Vaelira stood before the galaxy once more. The same place where she had been rejected. The same voices that had called her weak now waited to hear her speak. She was still blind. That had not changed. What had changed was everything else. The council leader cleared his throat. The events of this cycle have shown serious failure in our judgment. Vaelira listened. Not with her eyes, with awareness. With the presence of the United Earth Fleet, the leader continued, and by unanimous vote, the council recognizes the bond as lawful and permanent. A pause. And recognizes Princess Vaelira as a sovereign equal. The words echoed through the chamber. Ethan felt her breath catch through the bond. She bowed not in weakness, but in respect. I do not ask the galaxy to fear humans, Vaelira said calmly. I ask it to learn from them. Many aliens shifted uncomfortably. You taught me that worth is measured by ability, she continued. Humans taught me something else. She turned slightly toward Ethan. They taught me that worth is measured by choice. The council voted again. A new law was written into galactic code. No being may be judged unfit due to disability alone. All bonds must be entered with consent, honor, and protection. The galaxy changed that day. Slowly, but forever. Vaelira returned home not as a hidden daughter, but as a leader. Her people welcomed her openly for the first time. Human ambassadors remain not as rulers, but as allies. Datiathan stayed by her side. Not as a hero, not as a savior, but as a human who chose. The stars remembered that choice. And the galaxy learned. Final lesson. Never judge humanity by strength alone. Because when humans choose someone, they change the universe to protect them.